Con. Con. Papá khati percaya ke sih.
ये किस सब्जेक्ट की क्लास है?
Am I audible? Voice clear? Okay. Online? Okay, Dell. So let's continue with क्या है ये? So let's finish off the last topic from literature for term 1. Yes. I told you the syllabus of PT4 to be scheduled on Sunday. Yes. 3 topics: the enemy, third level, and letter to the editor. Letter to editor लिया कि article लिया है? Forgot something. You will come to know. जैसे भी पढ़ना कौन सा ऐसा पढ़ा हुआ है ना? अब तो पढ़ोगे तो कब? दिसंबर में, क्योंकि 3 दिसंबर को तो फाइनल्स है इंग्लिश का, है ना? पता है ना डेट? अटेंड. आई होप यू ऑल हैव टेकन फिजिकल. तो फिजिकल और मैथ्स संग संग ही है. हाँ, फिजिकल इज ओके, इंग्लिश तो आज हो जाएगा. थैंक यू. चलो, सो अ क्विक रिकैप ऑफ व्हाट was there in the chapter till now. अब तक क्या हुआ था इस चैप्टर में? The conflict of duties in the mind of Dr. Sadao. Should he save the enemy soldier being a doctor, or should he as a patriot get that enemy soldier killed or arrested? On 21st of February, remember the date? Yes, a wounded unconscious prisoner of war comes floating onto the shore near the house of Dr. Sadao. Dr. Sadao and Hannah, not liking the Americans, they had nothing to do with the Americans now because all the Americans were enemies. War was going on between Japan and America. Sadao had studied 8 years in Japan. He went at the age of 22 and returned at the age of 30. Over there he met Hannah. He fell in love, and then both of them were married in Japan world. So Sadao and Hannah, they were in a dilemma as to what to do. Finally, they decide to take him home. The servants in the house, the gardener, the cook, and the maid servant Yumi, were reluctant. They did not give any helping hand to their masters. And it was Sadao and Hannah who took care of this wounded, unconscious prisoner of war. He was operated successfully, Dr. Sadao time and again would feel that why I'm saving the life of this man. This man has no right to live. But in spite of it, he saves the life. And then the day the last of the stitches was removed, he decided to make a complaint of this enemy soldier. He typed a letter that on 21st February, a white man came flowing ashore to my house. This is what he typed. Did not have the courage to finish the letter. Kept that letter in the drawer. 7th day after this, two things happened. First, in the morning, the servants packed their belongings and bid sayonara to their masters. Tata bye bye bol diya. They loved the job because the white man was given shelter in the house. The servants were sad, but Hannah showed no expressions of sadness nor fear onto them because she had a pride of being a mistress. So first thing happened was the servants had gone. The second thing happened that later on in the day, some officials came in uniform and they asked for Dr. Sadao. As soon as Hannah saw them, she was terrified because she thought the servants must have told and now they have come to arrest her husband. But they had just come over here because the general was in pain and he needed it was an emergency and he was called to take care of the general. So Hannah felt relieved now. But Dr. Sadao saw the expressions of fear on the face of his wife Hannah. And now he decided, whatever happens, I will complain about this white man to the general. And then Dr. Sadao goes to visit the general and take care of him. This is where we stopped yesterday. अब चलते हैं आगे. साउंड नहीं आ रही. कुछ म्यूट तो नहीं किया आप लोगों ने. Okay, perfect. So let's start from page number. Page number 40. Sadao goes to the general. हाँ एक पेज रिपीट करवा रहे हो. So now Dr. Sadao, when he visits the general, after he gives him the medical help, he spoke about the enemy soldier in the house. So now the response of the general. Of course, the general said weakly, I understand fully, but that is because I once took a degree in Princeton. So few Japanese have. Princeton is a name of an American university. The general also studied over there. तो just felt कि हाँ थोड़ा सा लगाव तो हो सकता है. I care nothing for the man, Excellency, Sadao said, but having operated on him with such success, so I have no liking for this enemy man. Yes, the general said. It only makes me feel you more indispensable to me. Indispensable is unavoidable. इसी कारण, because you can save anyone, that is the reason I cannot avoid you. Evidently, you can save anyone. You are so skilled. You say, you think I can stand one more such attack as I have had today? क्या मैं एक और अटैक सहन कर पाऊंगा जैसा आज आया? Not more than one, Sadao said. Then certainly I can allow nothing to happen to you. If you are able to save me, I say to it that I save you, nothing happens to you. तुमको कुछ ना होगा. The general said with anxiety. His long, pale Japanese face became expressionless, which meant that he was in deep thought. So he now started thinking. You cannot be arrested, the general said, closing his eyes. Suppose you were condemned to death and the next day I had to have my operation. So this was the worries of the general. बोलता अगर तुमको सजाए मौत हो गई, condemned is punished. तुम तो गए ऊपर, अगले दिन मुझे तुम्हारी जरूरत पड़ी, मुझे भी ऊपर ही आना पड़ेगा तुम्हारे पास. सो मैं तुमको कुछ नहीं होने दूंगा. There are other surgeons, Excellency, Sadao suggested. ये वो very logical reply. बाकी लोग तो बाकी doctors भी तो हैं. None I trust, the general replied. The best ones have been trained by Germans and would consider the operation successful, even if I died. I do not care for their point of view. Now, when you read this particular paragraph, something about German and the American surgeons has been specified. Just keep in mind one thing, you will not get confused. In the earlier years, whenever the students would opt for medicine as the career, these two countries were famous, Germany and America. The students would used to go there. Now, whenever the German students, whenever the students were taught in German, when they were trained, they were given the training, they were taught to be ruthless. Don't have any sentimental attacks, sentimental feelings or attraction towards the person whom you are operating on. दिल का रिश्ता मत लगाओ उससे. Just think it's a target, it's an object, इसको तुमको operate करना है. This is what they were taught. Whereas the Americans, they taught their students to be sentimental. On human grounds, इंसानियत रखना, इंसान समझ के उस इंसान की हमको मदद करनी है. Hence, Dr. Sadao used to talk to the patient, and what did he term the patient as? My friend. This is what he had learned in his training. So that is what has been expressed in these lines. वो तो जर्मन तो अपना काम कर देंगे, ऑपरेशन कर देंगे, बोलेगा भले आदमी मर गया तो क्या हुआ, हमने तो अपना काम कर लिया, मर गया तो हम क्या करें. This is what he's trying to say. The best ones have been trained by Germans and would consider the operation successful even if I died. I do not care for their point of view, he said. It seems a pity that we cannot better combine the German ruthlessness with the American sentimentality. Whether the Germans are ruthless, the Americans are sentimental, it would be better that if we would be able to combine both these foreign elements. Then you could turn your prisoner over to execution, and yet I could be sure you would not murder me while I was unconscious. So uske baad, if these both elements are combined, I am sure I'll be safe. You will not, even though if you are punished, but you, after operation, you will not murder me. मुझे इतना तो भरोसा है कि तुम्हें इंसानियत रहेगी, on humanity grounds will not be killing me. The general laughed, खुद अपनी बातों पे हंसता था. He had an unusual sense of humor. उसके जोक को ही समझता था. As a Japanese, could you not combine these two foreign elements? He asked. What if we are from the third country? दोनों combine करो. Sadao smiled. I am not quite sure, he said. But for your sake, I would be traveling to try, Excellency. आपके लिए मैं कोशिश कर सकता हूँ. The general shook his head. I had rather not be the test case. ठीक है, what you want to do? Don't try this thing on me. I don't want to be the bali ka bakra. He felt suddenly weak and overwhelmed with the cares of his life as an official in times such as these, when repeated victory brought great responsibilities all over the South Pacific. South Pacific is the Japan. Yes. So he felt suddenly weak and overwhelmed. What is overwhelmed? Not only actual खुशी, it is overpowered with some feelings. वो एकदम गहरी सोच में और विचारों में डूब गया, because you are thinking about his bad health, about his weakness. It is very unfortunate that this man should have washed up on your doorstep, he said irritably. कितना ये आदमी को यही तुम्हारा घर मिला क्या मरने के लिए? I feel it so myself, Sadao said gently. It would be best if he could be quietly killed, the general said, so that nobody knows about this enemy soldier in your house. Not by you, but by someone who does not know him. I have my own private assassins. Assassins is the murderers who kill for political reasons. You know? I have my own private assassins. मेरे पास खुद के पाले हुए भाई लोग हैं. You know? Come in. Suppose I send two of them to your house tonight, or better any night. Maybe I'll send two of them, maybe आज या और किसी रात को. You need know nothing about it. It is now warm. What would be more natural than that you should leave the outer partition of the white man's room open to the garden while he sleeps. So make the things look natural. I'll send my men tonight or some other night. Keep the window open. They'll come from there. चुपचाप किसी को पता ही नहीं चलेगा. Certainly, it would be very natural. Sadao agreed. In fact, it is so left open every night. हर रात मैं window खुली रखता हूँ. Good, the general said, yawning. They are very capable assassins. They make no noise and they know the trick of inward bleeding. They are very capable men. They know that art of killing. The person won't even make a noise. चूचा भी नहीं करेगा और उसकी लाश बिछा देंगे मेरे आदमी लोग. If ऐसे गले दबाएंगे कि अंदर अंदर ब्लीडिंग से मर जाएगा. If you like, I can even have them remove the body. तुम चाहो तो लाश भी ठिकाने लगा देंगे. Sarao considered. That perhaps would be best. Excellency, he agreed, thinking of Hannah. So he just recollected the face of terrified Hannah when the officers had come. He left the general's presence then and went home, thinking over the plan. In this way, the whole thing would be taken out of his hands. He would tell Hannah nothing, since she would be timid at the idea of assassins in the house. Timid, scared, worried, चिंतित हो जाएगी, डर जाएगी. She would be timid at the idea of assassins because Hannah would get scared if she comes to know such killers, such bhai log are coming into the house. And yet, certainly, such persons were essential in an absolute state such as Japan was. Who such persons? Such assassins. How else could rulers deal with those who opposed them? जो सर उठाता था, उसका सर काटने के लिए such murderers, such assassins were required. He refused to allow anything but reason to be the atmosphere of his mind as he went into the room where the American was in bed. So now there was nothing else in the mind of Dr. Sadao except getting rid of this American soldier. But as he opened the door, to his surprise, he found the young man out of bed and preparing to go out into the garden. What is this? He exclaimed. Who gave you permission to leave your room? कहाँ जा रहे हो? किसको पूछ के जा रहे हो? I am not used to waiting for permission, Tom said gaily. Gaily? Gaily is not pride. This word will also come in the text very soon. This word has two meanings. One meaning I won't discuss, not related to the chapter. The other meaning is happy. So gay is happy and gaily is happily. ठीक है? Tom said gaily. Gosh, I feel pretty good again. But will the muscles on this side always feel stiff? वो तो ऐसे अच्छा लग रहा है, but ये muscles यहाँ पे क्या stiffness रहेगी? अकड़न है यहाँ पर. Is it so? Sadao inquired, surprised. He forgot all else. What all else? दांत तो दिमाग में था to get rid, get this person killed. और यहाँ छोटे सा उसको कुछ दर्द हो रहा होगा तो सब कुछ भूल गया, उसको उसकी चिंता हो गई. Now I thought I provided against that, he murmured. He lifted the edge of the man's shirt and gazed at the healing scar. Massage may do it, he said, if exercise does not. But exercise नहीं तो massage करो ठीक हो जाएगा. It won't bother me much, the young man said. His young face was jaunt under the stubbly blonde beard. Jaunt is lean and thin, पतला दुबला चेहरा था उसका. Under the stubbly blonde beard. What is stubbly? Stubbly is rough, pointed. दाढ़ी बढ़ रही थी उसकी तो चुभने वाली, that is called as stubbly, prickly, है ना? Was jaunt under the stubbly blonde beard. Say, doctor, I've got something I want to say to you. If I hadn't met a Jap like you, well, I wouldn't be alive today. I know that. So he's thankful to Jap doctor for saving his life. Sadao bowed, but he could not speak. Okay. But he did not speak. Surely, I know that. Tom went on warmly. Who is Tom? The white man. His big thin hands gripping a chair were white at the knuckles. Knuckles is this part. Mukka मारते हैं ये वाला. I guess if all the Japs were like you, there wouldn't have been a war. A logical thing he just says, if all the Japanese were like you, life saviors, then this war would not have taken place. Perhaps, Sadao said with difficulty, and now I think you had better go to bed. शायद लड़ाई नहीं होती, अब सो जाओ. He helped the boy back into bed and then bowed. Good night, he said. Good night. सो जा चैन से, है ना? Sadao slept badly that night. He wished that person good night, but Sadao had a bad night. Time and time again, he woke, thinking he heard the rustling of footsteps, the sound of a twig broken, or a stone displaced in the garden, a noise such as man might make who carried a burden. So उसके दिमाग में एक ही चीज घूम रही थी. Just thought someone is walking in the garden with the burden on the shoulders. राम नाम सत्य है, उसको उठा के ले जा रहे होंगे, यही उसको समझ में आया. What is rustling? Rustling, घसीटना, it's a noise, but what type? A particular meaning. क्या घिसते से? This is what I wanted. Actually, when the leaves strike one another, so पत्तियां टकराते हैं, जो घिसने की आवाज होती है ना, that is called as the rustling sound. हाँ, तो no normal sound is called, हाँ जब पाइथन भी उस पे चलते हो देखा तो the rustling of the leaves, this is used है. छोटी. बड़ी डाली वर्ड आएगा बाउज, BOUGH, वो आगे आएगा शायद. A noise such as man might make who carried a burden. The next morning he made the excuse to go first into the guest room. If the American were gone, he then could simply tell Hannah that so the Governor General had directed. He went to the room first and he decided if the enemy soldier is gone, he'll inform Hannah and tell her how he had made this plan along with the help of the general. But when he opened the door, he saw at once that there on the pillow was the shaggy blonde head. Shaggy? Dirty, untidy सा. उसको भद्दा सा वो सोता हुआ चेहरा नजर आया. He could hear the peaceful breathing of sleep and he closed the door again quietly. He's asleep, he told Hannah. He's almost well to sleep like that. अब काफी ठीक है, ऐसे चैन से वो सो सकता है. What shall we do with him? Hannah whispered her old refrain. So she just repeated the same old sentence. Her worries. क्या करेंगे इसका? Sadao shook his head. I must decide in a day or two. एक दो दिन में कुछ इलाज करते हैं इसका. But certainly thought the second night must be the night. There rose a wind that night, and he listened to the sounds of bending boughs and whistling partitions. आगे boughs? Boughs is branches of the tree. So why the whistling of the partitions? Partitions city बजा रहे थे. Because of the wind? Yes. साए साए वो that उसकी आवाज आ रही थी. Hannah woke too. Ought we not to go and close the sick man's partitions? He asked. क्या हमको उसकी विंडो बंद नहीं करनी चाहिए? No, Sadao said. He is able now to do it for himself. He is strong enough. But the next morning the American was still there. Then the third night, of course, must be the night. तो Sadao thought कि ये तो आज आखिरी रात पक्का है, ये कयामत की रात है, आज तो गया ये. The wind changed to quiet rain, and the garden was full of the sound of dripping eaves and running springs. What is eaves? It's not leaves, it is eaves. Eaves actually is the front part of that roof. तो यहाँ से पानी टपकते टपकते, it was coming up in the garden, and in the garden the water was flowing. Spring is water यहाँ पे. Sadao slept a little better. But he woke at the sound of a crash and leaped to his feet. अचानक कुछ आवाज सुनाई दी, जाग गए. What was that? Hannah cried. The baby woke at her voice and began to wail. Wail is wail. WIL wail. कितना करते थे बचपन में सब रोना. बच्चा बेचारा नींद में से जाग गया, उसका रोना शुरू हो गया. I must go and see. बोलता मैं जाके देखती हूँ क्या हुआ, कहाँ से आवाज आई. But he held her and would not let her move. Dr. Sadao caught the hand of Hannah. नहीं जाने दिया उसको. Sadao, she cried, what's the matter with you? क्या हो गया? Don't go, he muttered. Don't go. Why he was not allowing Hannah to go? He just thought that maybe the assassin must have come. They must be doing their work. वो अपनी गेम बजा रहे होंगे enemy soldier की. Don't go. His terror infected her and she stood breathless, waiting. अब आवाज बंद हो गई. There was only silence. Together, they crept back into the bed, the baby between them. Again, they went off to sleep. Yet, when he opened the door of the guest room in the morning, there was the young man. He was very gay, happy, yes, and had already washed and was now on his feet. He had asked for a razor yesterday and had shaved himself, and today there was a faint color in his cheeks. Till now तो stubbly beard थी, दाढ़ी बड़ी थी, रेजर से अपना शेव करके मस्त चिकना चकाचक लग रहा था. I am well, he said joyously. He looked to be happy. Sadao drew his kimono round his weary body. Weary? Tired. So this person was joyous, happy, whereas Sadao was tired. 2-3 रात से ढंग से सोया भी नहीं था. He could not. He decided suddenly, go through another night. So Sadao did not want any more tensions waiting for the assassins. It was not that he cared for the young man's life. No, simply it was not worth the strain. It was not that he cared at all for the white man. ऐसा नहीं कि उसकी जान की परवाह थी. You are well, Sadao agreed. He lowered his voice. You are so well that I think if I put my boat on the shore tonight with food and extra clothing in it, you might be able to row to that little island not far from the coast. So tonight I'll give you my boat, food, clothes, everything. You take this boat and row to that island just near the shore. Nobody lives, it is so near the coast that it has not been worth fortifying. What is to fortify? Kabza to nahi. To keep a watch. To keep a watch. निगरानी करने की जरूरत नहीं है. कोई किला नहीं बनाया है वहां पे. It is very close to the shore. So no guards, no watch is kept on this island. Nobody lives on it because in storm it is submerged. Submerged is डूबा हुआ. होता जब बारिश ज्यादा आती है तूफान के समय में ये जो आइलैंड है वो डूब जाता है. बट अभी तूफान का समय नहीं है, तुम आराम से जा सकते हो उधर. दिस इज व्हाट इट सेज. Nobody lives on it because in storm it is submerged. But this is not the season of storm. आ गया जवाब? You could live there until you saw a Korean fishing boat pass by. Korea, neighbor of Japan, like our neighbor is Pakistan. वैसे relation. Korea was supporting America that time. तो बोलता है, you take the help of the Korean fishing boat, the enemy of Japan. They passed quite near the island because the water is many fathoms deep there. Fathom? राजा के हाथ. ये तो क्या किरण. दो हाथ, ये हाथ मुझे दे दे ठाकुर. हाँ, शोले. Nothing to do with हाथ. I agree with this थोड़ा बहुत, but nothing to do with this. ये physical के लिए रखना. Anyone else with the meaning of the word fathom? Fathom is a unit. to measure length नहीं, it is unit to measure the depth of water. पानी की गहराई मापने का यूनिट है. Yes. Can anybody tell 1 fathom is how many feet? Story का पढ़ा था. Let it the stories be aside. Let's talk with the fact. 1 fathom is equal. अरे छोड़ो ना हाथ, फिर हाथ ले लूंगा वो गब्बर सिंह जैसे. हाँ, 1 fathom is equal to 6 feet deep. Nothing to do with your 2 hands now. ठीक? Okay. 1 fathom is equal to 6 feet. ये उसकी डेप्थ है. तो बोले समुद्र का पानी गहरा है. They pass the fishing boats pass near the island because it is less deep. The young man stared at him slowly, comprehending. Comprehending is? Yes, Mr. L. Correct answer. Comprehending, understanding. समझ रहा था. Do I have to? जाना पड़ेगा सच में? I think so, Sadhu said gently. You understand. It is not hidden that you are here. अब ये छुपी हुई बात जरा भी नहीं है कि तुम यहाँ पर छुपे हुए. Why says this? The servants had gone. They may tell or they might have told. Hence, Dr. Sadhu did not want any tension now. The young man nodded in perfect comprehension. Okay, he said simply. Sadhu did not see him again until evening. As soon as it was dark, he had dragged the stout boat. Stout is strong. He dragged the stout boat down to the shore, and in it he put food and bottled water. Why? He could not drink that sea water and bottled water that he had bought secretly during the day. सब चुपचाप उसने तैयारी की थी. As well as 2 quilts he had bought at a pawn shop. What is pawn shop? What is the meaning of pawn? एक तो प्यादा, which is used in the chess. The other meaning. The other meaning. Fish to बोले that is prawn. उसके अंदर R आ जाता है. P-R-A-W-N, that is prawn. Pawn is also used as a verb. To pawn something. एक तो noun हो गया. The प्यादा we used in chessboard. बेचना नहीं. उसके आसपास. When you don't want money. Sorry, when you need money. And you don't want to sell a particular thing, what do? Yeah, what does a person do? अब आए ना उस बात पे. गिरवी रखना. Mortgage is the synonym for pawn. Mortgage, गिरवी रखना. So people put some precious things, they take the money, and if the money is not returned back in time, the pawnbrokers, they dispose of the thing. So यहाँ पे where the old things are sold. Very simple meaning. He had bought at a pawn shop. The boat he tied to a post in the water, for the tide was high. बेटा थोड़ा वेरी कॉमन सेंस लगा. उसको खुले आसमान में आइलैंड पे सोने भेज रहा था. He did not want to buy any new thing. He did not want to come in the limelight into the picture. Therefore, he brought an old one. नहीं खरीदता आदमी, नहीं जाता तो दुकानदार कह रहे कहीं जा रहे हो क्या बाहर? That way, he's just trying to put up the things, to hide the things. No, he did not want to show कि picture में आवे कि अच्छा नया काय के लिए दिवाली आई है क्या? That way, है ना? The boat he tied to a post in the water, for the tide was high. There was no moon, and he worked without a flashlight. अमावस की रात थी, without torch, बेचारे काम कर रहे थे. When he came to the house, he entered as though he was just back from his work, and so Hannah knew nothing. He did not want Hannah to know what is going on in his mind. उसके दिमाग में क्या प्लान था वो हाना को नहीं बताना चाहता था. Yumi was here today, she said, as she served his supper. What is supper? Though she was so modern, she did not eat with him. 1 point for the character sketch of Hannah. In spite of Hannah being modern, but still she was traditional. पहले पति को खिलाती थी, पति के पहले वो खाना नहीं खाती थी, पहले आप खाइए. So she was a traditional wife, not like the modern wives of today. Though she was modern, but she did not eat with him. Yumi cried over the baby. She went on with a sigh. She misses him so. Yumi को बहुत याद आ रही है बच्चों की. The servants will come back as soon as the foreigner is gone, Sadao said. He went into the guest room that night before he went to bed himself and checked carefully the American's temperature, the state of the wound, and his heart and pulse. Yes, all medical checkup he did. The pulse was irregular, but that was perhaps because of excitement. Anxious tha, he was about to go towards his freedom. The young man's pale lips were pressed together and his eyes burned. Only the scars on his neck were red. Remember those scars, which Hannah also noticed, and Sadao did not care for it? Sadao saw those scars had now turned red. Only the scars on his neck were red, but Sadao did not ask again, "Kya ye kya hua?" I realize you are saving my life again, he told Sadao. Not at all, Sadao said. It is only inconvenient to have you here any longer. बोलते नहीं, अब काफी दिक्कत है तुमको यहाँ पे रखने में. हो सकता है I am trying to save myself by saving your life. He had hesitated a good deal about giving the man a flashlight, but he had decided to give it to him after all. First, you are reluctant. रुक रहा था नहीं दो, but then he gave his own torch, his flashlight. It was a small one, his own, which he used at night when he was called. So at night, दू नहीं दू उसकी मर्जी, दू नहीं दू उसके पकड़ में आ गया, किसकी ये डॉक्टर सदाओ की टॉर्च है. Many things could be there. So first he was hesitant about it, लेकिन किसको पता ही नहीं है, नाइट में यूज करता था, मेरी छोटी सी पॉकेट टॉर्च है. Therefore he gave, you know. Which he used at night when he was called. Now he gives some instructions. If your food runs out before you catch a boat, he said, signal me 2 flashes. At the same instant, the sun drops over the horizon. The sun drops over the horizon means sunset. जैसे शाम ढले, at sunset, signal me twice. जब तुम्हारा खाना कहीं भागकर चला जावे. If your food runs out, मतलब यही हुआ ना? क्या मतलब हुआ? If your food finishes, if you are short of food, अगर खाने की दिक्कत होवे, तो 2 signal करना. Do not signal in darkness, for it will be seen. So he just gave each and every precautional instructions. एक एक बारीकी चीज सोच समझ कर उसको बोला. If you are all right, but still there, signal me once. If everything is well, all is well, signal me once with the torch. You will find fresh fish, easy to catch, but you must eat raw. A fire could be seen. अगर fresh food खाना है, समुद्र में हाथ डालना, मछली पकड़ना, कच्चा चबा जाना, पकाना मत. पकाओगे, पकड़े जाओगे. This is what he told. What is raw? कच्चा. Opposite? Fried तो नहीं, तो भुना हुआ इंग्लिश में BHUN है, भुना. raw mango, ripe mango, कच्चा पक्का, raw and ripe, या raw और cooked. अगर खाने की चीज होवे तो you can just say cook. Okay, the young man breathed. He was dressed now in the Japanese clothes which Sadao had given him, and at the last moment Sadao wrapped a black cloth about his blonde head. So he gave him all the Japanese clothes. फिर देखा उसके golden बाल तो नजर आ रहा है. He covered his head with a black cloth. Now, चल भुक, Sadao said. The young American, without a word, shook Sadao's hand warmly and then walked quite well across the floor and down the step into the darkness of the garden. So he left the house of Dr. Sadao. Once, twice, Sadao saw his light flash to find his way. There was no moonlight, घोर अंधेरा. So कली जमीन की तरफ उसने रोशनी की रास्ता देखने के लिए. But that would not be suspected. He waited until from the shore there was one more flash. Then he closed the partition. That night he slept. अब चैन से वो सोया. Now next day, Dr. Sadao was again summoned or called by the general in an emergency. And for few hours, the general condition was unstable. And later on, so Dr. Sadao could not talk to him for a few days. But when the condition was stable, Dr. Sadao told the general about the escape of the white man. यहाँ पे आता है ये. You say the man escaped. The general asked faintly, weakly, कमजोर में, बेहोशी की हालत में. He had been operated upon a week before, an emergency operation to which Sadao had been called in the night. So 7 days back, he was operated in an emergency. For 12 hours, Sadao had not been sure the general would live. It was such a critical condition that even Dr. Sadao was confused whether general जिंदा बचेगा या नहीं. Sadao, the gallbladder was much involved. Gallbladder is the human organ. Then the old man had begun to breathe deeply again and to demand food. So it was nearly 12 hours critical condition. फिर उसको होश आया, सांसें चली, and he asked for food. Sadao had not been able to ask about the assassins. So far as he knew, they had never come. So he could not speak to the general about, because the general's condition was unstable. He did not ask about the assassin, but he was sure assassins मेरे घर पर नहीं आए. And 7 days had passed. And in those 7 days, till now, the American soldier was still on that island. Dr. Sadao could see that signal from the shore. So far as he knew, they had never come. The servants had returned, and Yumi had cleaned the guest room thoroughly and had burned sulfur in it to get the white man's smell out of it. So much traditional servants. The house was clean, and even the stink, the smell of the white man they did not want. तो यूमी ने पूरा घर में वो धूप करी किसकी? सल्फर से, कि उसके धुएं से उसकी बास चली जाए. Nobody said anything. Only the gardener was cross because he had got behind with his chrysanthemums. Chrysanthemums are a type of flowers. The gardener was cross, you can just say a bit irritated. Why? Because the caretaking of the flowers was not done properly. So उसका काम में थोड़ा पिछड़ गया था. He was delayed in the work, so maybe he was a bit cross. But they did not say anything, they just continued their work. But after a week, Sadao felt the general was well enough to be spoken to about the prisoner. Yes, Excellency, he escaped. So in the earlier paragraph, what did the general say? You say the man escaped. So now the reply comes, yes, हाँ जहापना वो गायब हो गया, भाग गया. Sadao now said, he coughed, signifying that he had not said all he might have said, but was unwilling to disturb the general further. उसको बोलते बोलते खांसी आ गई. He was trying to hide something. But the old man opened his eyes suddenly. That prisoner, he said with some energy, did I not promise you I would kill him for you? क्या मैं तुमको वादा नहीं किया था कि हम उसको मार देंगे तुम्हारे लिए? You did, Excellency, Sadao said. Well, well, the old man said in a tone of amazement, surprised. So I did. But you see, I was suffering a good deal. The truth is, I thought of nothing but myself. In short, I forgot my promise to you. बात ये है, मैं मेरा वादा निभाना भूल गया. So what can we analyze something about the general? Did the general really cared for Sadao? He was dual-masked, dual-faced. Selfish बोल सकते हैं? He wanted the help of Dr. Sadao because he believed only in the skills of Dr. Sadao. So it's not that he, नहीं तो अगर उसको चाहता तो he would not have forgotten the promise. In short, I forgot my promise made to you. I wondered, Your Excellency, Sadao murmured. मैं भी सोच रहा था कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ. It was certainly very careless of me, the general said. But you understand, it is not lack of patriotism or dereliction of duty. ये मत समझना कि मेरी देशभक्ति में कमी है या it is a dereliction of duty. What is dereliction? Dereliction is not performing the duty deliberately. अपना कर्तव्य जानबूझकर नहीं करना, that is dereliction. ये मत सोचना कि मैंने अपना जानबूझ के कर्तव्य नहीं निभाया या मेरी देशभक्ति में कमी है. He looked anxiously at his doctor. If the matter should come out, you would understand that, wouldn't you? If the breaking news come out that because of my negligence, the white man, the enemy soldier, has escaped, शायद तुम इस मामले को संभाल लोगे, you'll make everyone understand, wouldn't you? तुम तो समझदार हो, समझा सकते हो, मैंने जानबूझ के नहीं किया. Certainly, Your Excellency, Sadao said. He suddenly comprehended that the general was in the palm of his hand and that as a consequence, he himself was perfectly safe. So now Dr. Sadao was relaxed, relieved, because he understood the general अब उसकी मुट्ठी में है. First, Dr. Sadao was to be blamed of being a traitor, but अब गुनेगार कौन था? General. So whatever blame was there on the head of Dr. Sadao initially, that blame was control X and control V onto the head of the general. ठीक है ना? Control X क्या? कट है ना, कट कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं, कट पेस्ट है, सही है. So now you are totally free because पूरा गुनहगार अब कौन है? जनरल की लापरवाही के कारण ये हुआ था. I can swear to your loyalty, Excellency, he said to the old general, and to your zeal against the enemy. Zeal is enthusiasm, जोश. मैं तो तुम्हारी वफादारी की कसम खाता हूं और मुझे पता है कि तुम्हारा कितना जोश रहता है दुश्मन के प्रति. You are a good man, the general murmured and closed his eyes. You will be rewarded. इनाम दिया जाएगा तुमको. But Sadao, searching the spot of black in the twilighted sea that night, had his reward. There was no prick of light in the dusk. Dusk is that late evening, sunset के time पे. Prick of light, that flash of light. So on that day, he did not see that flash of light coming from that shore, from that island. So here we assume that till now that man was there. आज वो नहीं था रात. There was no prick of light in the dusk. No one was on the island. His prisoner was gone, safe, doubtless, for he had warned him to wait only for a Korean fishing boat. Dr. Sadao had advised him to only take the help of a Korean fishing boat. Now, the last paragraph. Dr. Sadao was just standing at the same place, and out of nowhere, all the faces of the Japanese who had helped him in his time of stay and study in America, those faces came one by one, but he saw all the face with hatred because he had nothing to do with the Americans now. All Americans were his enemies. He stood for a moment on the veranda, gazing out to the sea, from whence the young man had come that other night. Whence? Where? Jahan se. And into his mind, although without reason, there came other white faces he had known. जिन गोरे लोग को जानता था उनके चेहरे आंखों के सामने आ गए. First, the professor at whose wife he had met Hannah, a dull man, and his wife had been a silly, talkative woman. Which professor is talking about? Professor Harley. The first face that came in front of his eyes was that of Professor Harley and his wife. He should have been grateful to this couple because he met Hannah in their house. उसको अपनी जिंदगी मिल गई थी इनके घर में, but he disliked them. Why? The professor was a dull man and the wife was bucky. She was voluble, very, very talkative. In spite of which to be kind. Then the next phase was the professor of anatomy. He remembered his old teacher of anatomy, who had been so insistent on mercy with the knife. Mercy, the insistent, जोर देके बोलता था कि जब चाकू का इस्तेमाल करो, दया भाव रखना. Hence, Dr. Sadao, they were told to be sentimental. Insistent on mercy with the knife. So he remembered the face of anatomy. He should have, the professor of anatomy's face. Dr. Sadao should have been grateful to this person because this professor had taught about each and every atom of human body so perfectly that Dr. Sadao had become a perfect surgeon, could save the life of anyone. तो उसको तो एहसान मान होना चाहता है इस डॉक्टर का, प्रोफेसर का, but he disliked him. And then he remembered the face of his fat and slatternly landlady. Slatternly landlady? Slatternly? Careless, dirty, bhatti, ugly looking. So he just saw the face of his old and ugly landlady. He had great difficulty in finding a place to live in America because he was a Japanese. So when he had gone, the war was on, and it was very difficult for the Japanese students to find a house for shelter in America. The Americans were full of prejudice and it had been bitter to live in it. उनको वहां रहना पसंद नहीं आता था. Knowing himself their superior. How he had despised the ignorant and dirty old woman who had at last consented to house him in her miserable home. Consent? Allowed, permitted. So this now उसको वो lady भी पसंद नहीं आ रही थी और घर भी बोलता है miserable home. बताओ उस मोटी भद्दी लेडी ने अपने गंदे से घर में उसको रहने की इजाजत दी. So when he was getting no place to stay, this landlady gave him the place to stay. So he should have been thankful and grateful. He had once tried to be grateful to her because she had in his last year nursed him through influenza. Influenza is fever, flu. This common term we call it as flu. But it was difficult for she was no less repulsive to him in her kindness. So this landlady, first of all, she gave shelter to Dr. Sadao. Secondly, in his last year of studies, when Dr. Sadao was unwell, बीमार थे, उसका देख रेख करे थी. Yes. Dr. Sadao tried to be thankful to this lady, but she did not accept it. Why? War was on. They were totally thankless. For she was no less repulsive to him in her kindness. Now he remembered the youthful, haggard face of his prisoner. Haggard, jaunt, haggard, meaning same. Jaunt word पहले कर चुके हैं. Lean and thin, पतला दुबला, चेहरा देखा उसके दुश्मन का. White and repulsive. Repulsive, opposite of attractive. So नफरत भरा उसने उस गोरे दुश्मन का चेहरा देखा. Strange, he thought. I wonder why I could not kill him. कितनी अजीब बात है. I could not kill that man. So Dr. Sadao could not understand till end that why is he trying to, why did he save the life of that white man? He did not have any liking or attachment with him, but the instincts of being a doctor was stronger than that of being a patriot. This is what this chapter is all about. You know? Just give me a break. So with this, we are through with all the literature topics. We are done with section B, the writing section, section C, the literature part. One section is pending, that is section A, reading section, in which you only have to read, you only have to understand, you only have to attempt the answers, in which I can teach you nothing. But something I like to discuss regarding section A, that is the reading part. The instruction always is read the passage given below and answer the questions that follow. But many students, they don't follow the instructions. Instruction क्या लिखा रहता है? Read the passage and answer the questions that follow. कौन passage पढ़े इतना बड़ा चौड़ा सा? What the students do? The students read the question. अभी नहीं मिला, फिर दोबारा. Then they read the second question. They attempt. Yes, maybe by the end of the day. Okay, 6 feet. Maybe by the end of the day, your answers may be correct. I don't say कि answers गलत नहीं होंगे, मैं उसके बात नहीं कर रहा हूं. But time management is very important. This time the paper will be only of 90 minutes. And you have 6, 9 and 7, 16 questions to solve where those two passages are concerned. And if you just read the question, find the answer, read the question, find the answers. So ऐसा नहीं लगता कि around 8 to 10 times you have to read the passage again to find those 15, 16 question answers? हो सकता है. So those students who are using this tactic, ठीक है, हम कितना भी बोले, the students don't change. सर आपको जो बोलना है बोलो, हमको जो करना है करेंगे. डेमोक्रेसी है ना? But that is a reverse approach. The better way, the realistic, tactical, pragmatic approach to solve the passage is first have a glimpse at the question. रटो मत, एक नजर मार लो. Just skim through the questions. Now read the passage again. That first reading, at least you'll have a gist what this passage is talking about. It's not that in one reading you will be able to understand everything. मैं उसकी बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूं. You may have to reread the passage. दोबारा पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Then go to the questions again. It will become very easy for you to search the answers because दिमाग में चीज होंगी कि ये इस सीक्वेंस में पैसेज के अंदर चल रहा है. तो maybe in 2 or 3 readings in all, you will be able to solve those 16 questions which you have to attempt in the exam. It will take lesser time compared to reading 8 to 9 times or 10 times to search the answers one by one over here. So please read the passage once. And what is the time to use it? You will be getting the question paper, reading time 20 minutes. That is the time when sufficient time हो जाए. मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, make use of that time rather than wasting the time looking here and there कि कौन बैठा है पास में, ये मेरा दोस्त नहीं आया, ये नहीं आई और ऐसा है ना वैसा है. Because maybe English will be your first paper, written paper, the excitement, थोड़ा anxiousness plus offline mode, जैसे थोड़ा सा एक change रहता है. Yes, so 20 minutes उसमें waste मत करना. Use that first 20 minutes to read the things, understand the things. Plan out the things the way you plan in your other subjects, difficult level, easy level, जैसे भी करता है, whatever those planning is there, that is to be done in those 20 minutes. Because the paper is not of 90 minutes for you, the paper is only of 75 minutes for you. 15 minutes you have to keep yourself to recheck your answers. उतना टाइम रखोगे नहीं रखोगे? Yes, so this is what you have to keep in mind. Whatever it is, so those all those margins you have to keep for yourself. So just keep in mind 75 minutes, 60 questions में से you have to attempt 50. Yes. Now when this number of questions आता है, marking scheme आती है, the students always ask, sir, the pattern of the paper you said was something different. उसके अंदर तो आपने 40 questions बताया था. So as per the pattern of the paper discussed on day 1, 16 questions were, or 16 marks was reading section. Writing section was 8 marks. 14 questions or 14 marks reading section, 8 marks ये, and 18 marks was for the literature. 18 was 17 Flamingo and 7 Vistas. This is what I told day 1, the pattern of the paper. So 14, 8 and 18. This was the bifurcation. कितने questions हुए? 14, 8 and 18, 40. 1 mark each. This is what was there in the mind of the students. Now those students who have taken out time and gone through the sample paper, देखा है किसी ने? How many questions are given? नहीं याद, उतना हमने ध्यान नहीं दिया. I'll tell you. In that, all 60 questions are given and you have to attempt 50 questions in all. Out of those 50 questions, reading section, 2 passages, you have to attempt 16 questions. Then next 10 questions, 4 and 6, 10. 10 questions you have to attempt out of 12 from your writing section. कितने हो गए? 16 plus 10, 26, and the rest questions are from the Vistas. From your literature part. So this is the bifurcation over here. So you have to attempt 50 questions. Equal marks, so the weightage comes to around 0.8 for each correct question with no negative markings. So as for the sample paper, ये दिया है. Yes, that I was just analyzing the paper. So there was difference in what marking scheme they have assigned in the pattern of the paper and what mark we conclude from the calculation of the number of questions to be attempted multiply by 0.8. थोड़ा सा difference आ रहा है उसके अंदर, because you have to attempt 16 questions in the reading section, multiply by 0.8, 12 point something कुछ आएगा उसके पास. 7 कहां से आ जाएगा? लास्ट में तो 0.6 ही आएगा. नहीं, 16 लास्ट में तो 0.8 आएगा. मैं तो 0.8 नहीं, डिवाइड बाय 0.8 कर रहा हूं. When it is specified, each question carries equal marks. Now I don't know how they are going to calculate क्या है. That is not a matter to discuss also. Neither that should be your concern. आपको तो इतना याद रखना है कि this is what we have to attempt out of 60 questions, and the sub questions also, the things will be specified. So read the question very carefully. As for the sample paper, question number 1, reading comprehension, attempt any 8 of the questions given below. 10 questions are given, you are told to attempt any 8. And in the next one, you have to attempt any 6 out of 8. So 18 में से you have to attempt 16. sorry, 18 में से you have to attempt 14 questions. Yes. So this is what you have to keep in check over here. And in all the sub questions, then third will be your short composition, question fourth will be your long composition. Again, internal choices will be there. To read them carefully. ये मत सोचना कि सब सेक्शन मिला के लाइन से 1 to 50 में कर लूंगा. I have attempted my 50, all my answers are correct, I score full marks. ये आपकी बेवकूफी कहलाएगी. The marking will be as per the sections. So please keep a check onto that particular thing also. Now how to practice. Now you have ample of time. Till yesterday or till day before yesterday, the tension was there that after 15th any day the exam may start. Yet it was in the air कि 18th तक exam start हो जाएंगी. But now at least you are a bit relaxed. You can spend your Diwali peacefully and happily also. Now for the preparations, it's not that whatever you have done in the class is now sufficient. Start going through the practice papers. Start revising the sample papers. Not only revise, पढ़ के कुछ नहीं होगा, start solving them. Whatever tests we have taken up over here till now, and many more tests are still to follow. You will be having those FSTs, full syllabus test. Yes, हर subject का होगा वो. Dates will be announced very soon. Yes, 2-3 tests आपको करेंगे करने के लिए. Planning, those students over here, they are planning, the working is on that आपको offline का test मिले. Because board exams you may have to appear offline. है ना, तो उसका एक trial हो जाएगा. It's not that straight way you will be going to play the finals on 3rd of December. थोड़ी सी quarter final and semi final का test of offline will be given over here. The things are being worked out. So I can't promise about those things. These are not in my control. But how to attempt? What should be your approach? First, reread the chapters again if you have not read. Because you can get questions from any nook or corner. किसी भी कुन्ने में से question आपको आ सकता है. MCQs है. It's very easy to create any line which can be overlooked by the students. पकड़ में रहती है कि ये बच्चे ने पढ़ा नहीं होगा, चलो पकड़ो उसको. It's thing very easy to understand such things. So read the things carefully. In module, the subjective questions are also given. You can just have a glimpse on those answers as well. It will make you understand the chapter clearly. And then go through those DPPs, chapter wise other questions, जो भी है उसको करो. And one more thing I'd like to specify. If you have any other reference books को use करे होंगे, करो. No harm in, yes, करो. Don't have any problem. So ask me, sir, which book is good? All books are good enough. आपको करना है NCERT is fine if you want to use the other books, but in NCERT MCQs इतने नहीं है. DPPs also limitations are there. So at least you have to be prepared with the MCQs also. So if you are net savvy, Google search मार के बहुत कुछ आपको मिल जाएगा. And many of the things will be covering in the upcoming tests also. काफी कुछ cover करेंगे. Because if you go to the sample paper, it's not that the questions are straightway picked up. You might be getting some reasoning based question. Cause effect, assertion reasoning. Two statement might be given. You have to come out with the inference. Whether first is the cause, second is the effect. Both the statements are correct or both are incorrect. First follows second or second follows first, and so on. Various types of questions you can expect in that. Concluded. क्या निष्कर्ष निकला? पता है 2-3 बच्चों ने भी मुझे पूछा था इसका व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज. इन्फर इज टू कंक्लूडेड. क्या निष्कर्ष निकाला उसका? तो कीप ऑल दिस थिंग्स इन योर माइंड, है ना. रिवाइज करना अच्छे से, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, कोई टेंशन नहीं है. एंड इंग्लिश इज सच अ सब्जेक्ट वेयर यू कैन इजीली स्कोर फुल मार्क्स. And I expect this from my students also. We still have some time. I was talking about MCQs. So let's, huh? 99 तो अपने बच्चे लाए हैं सब्जेक्टिव में भी. Our students I'm talking. Those who are not that dedicated for the fourth and the fifth subject. Those whose main target is IIT. उन बच्चों में से 99 अपने बच्चे यहाँ पर लाए. 97 प्लस तो बहुत है मेरे पास numbers, है ना? So before we wind up the last lesson for term 1, let's discuss a few MCQs of this chapter, the enemy, है ना? मेरे पास है कुछ questions. Don't open your resume, sir, because I'm not going to ask you in sequence, है ना? तो ढूंढते रह जाओगे. मैं बता इनके भी आंसर देख लेता हूँ. Just give me a minute. I'll just. इसके सामने आ जाता हूं, उनको दिखता नहीं है फिर. Okay, I'm here. Yes, so few questions DPPs are from the enemy chapter. Okay, coming on with the questions, है ना? Why was Dr. Sadao never sent abroad with the troops? Why was Dr. Sadao not sent abroad with the troops? Give the option, na? First, his father did not allow him. Second, because he remained ill. Third, because the general remained ill. Or fourth, none of these. The correct answer is C, because the general remained ill. Okay. At what age did Dr. Sadao come back from America? At the age of 30. Question ध्यान से पढ़ना, 20 to 30 में confuse मत हो जाना. Who uttered these words? Why are we different from the other Japanese? Who uttered these words? Why are we different from the other Japanese? Options are Yumi, Hana, General, Dr. Sadao. Hana, correct. Hana is the correct answer. War between which two nations is mentioned in this chapter? War between which two nations is mentioned? Japan and Korea? Japan and America. Why did Dr. Sadao give his flashlight to the enemy soldier? First, to show him the way in the dark. Second, so that he could send him signal in case of any distress. Third, to help him. Fourth, all of these. And this the answer is all of these. When did Dr. Sadao feel that he got his reward as a doctor? When did Dr. Sadao feel that he got a reward as his doctor? So, I give the option, just wait. When the servants returned back to work, उसे लगा मैं जीत गया, मेरे इनाम पा लिया. Or when Hana appreciated him. Third, when the general gave him recognition and promised the reward. You are a good man, you will be rewarded. That is the time when he got his reward. Or when the POW could escape. when the POW could escape. That is the time Dr. Sadav realized that he has got his reward. What did Dr. Sadav decide to do when the assassins did not come? He decided to send him to America. He decided to hand him over to the police. He decided to help him escape, or he decided to kill the prisoner himself. The correct answer is C. He decided to help him escape. Why did the general want to kill the white man? First, to spare his own life. Second, he himself was in pain. Third, he needed Dr. Sadav's help, or all of these. We are talking about on the understanding of this chapter. Or why did he want to get rid of the white man? Chalo, I'll put up in another way. So what should be your answer? तो सदाव खतरे में पड़ता तो क्या? What about this option? To spare his own life? उसको भी तो तकलीफ थी. Himself was in pain, therefore he wanted to get rid. I'm not discussing, I'm not contradicting any of the answers. I'm not discussing this. वो ऑप्शन तो क्लियर कट है. He needed Dr. Sadav's help. That option is clear cut. I'm discussing about the other two options. Can they be correct? Yes or no? So should the answer be C or all of these? डॉक्टर को बचा के वो अपनी जान नहीं बचा रहा था. दिस यू ऑल्सो अग्री. देन व्हाई नॉट ए ऑप्शन ऑल्सो इज करेक्ट? यही तो पूछ रहा हूं मैं. In this question, all the options look to be correct. It should be all of these. So read the options, try to understand. This will show your understanding of that particular chapter, please. है ना? एक और क्वेश्चन देता हूं मैं. How did Dr. Sadav get rid of the American soldier? By asking him to row to the island? By giving him flashlight to use in time of distress? ये भी सही लग रहा है. By giving him food and clothes? The fourth answer is option is assumed all of these. पानी पियो शांति से. बाकी ऑप्शन सुने नहीं तो यही लगेगा. हाँ. Why did the messenger come to the doctor after the servants left the house? Why did the messenger come after the servants left the house? First, to ask about the servants' whereabouts. कि कहाँ गायब हो गए तुम्हारे servants, वो पूछने आए थे. To consult the doctor. डॉक्टर मेरा टेम्परेचर देखो, ऑक्सीजन लेवल देखो. To pay a casual visit. Hi doc, how are you? All well? Or to inform about the general's pain. Straightforward answer, to inform about the general's pain. एक और अच्छा क्वेश्चन था, I wanted to ask you. Okay, which of the following character traits are highlighted in Dr. Sadav? What are the character traits in Dr. Sadav? A compassionate human being, sincere and responsible citizen, an excellent doctor, all of these. Was he not a compassionate human being? What is compassionate? Insan, having feeling of kindness, humanity. Where is that question? एक question ढूंढ रहा था. Why did Dr. Sadao become irritable and impatient with his patient? DPP के अंदर patients हो गया, तो आई थिंक समझ जाना it is patient, है ना? तो उसको patient पे चिढ़ क्यों आ गई? A, because his servants were watching. Second, because of the general's pressure and fear, उसके लिए उसको उस पर चिढ़ थी. Third, because of his inability to leave the white man and help his distressed wife. Or fourth, all of these. Question is, why did Dr. Sadao become irritable and impatient with his patient? Irritable, चिढ़ आना, उसको चिढ़ क्यों आ गई थी उसको? That is irritation, irritable. Was this a time when he heard his wife retching? तब ये sentence है. When he heard his wife retching, the wife could not, she was feeling uneasy, and he was unable to go and help his wife who was in need. तब उसको चिढ़ आ जाती है. So the correct answer is because of his inability to leave the white man to help his distressed wife. And one last question. Okay. How did the general, think and give the reply, please. Suno pehle. How did the general feel at the end after his conversation with Dr. Sadao? At the end, how did he feel? Proud and egoistic. Second, refreshed and self-conscious. Third, rejuvenated and guilt-free. And fourth, relieved and guilt-free. A kya? Proud and egoistic. At the end, read the question and understand. How did General feel at the end after his conversation with Dr. Sadao? Did he feel refreshed? नहीं है. Did he feel proud? Out of question. Confusion is between two. Rejuvenated and guilt-free or relieved and guilt-free. What is rejuvenated? पहले तो उस पे आओ. You can get some words which might be confusing, है ना? तो you should know the words also. What is the meaning of rejuvenated? Yes, answer यहाँ से तो आ गया. Re-energized. Rejuvenated is re-energized. Did he feel himself re-energized? He was talking in a low voice. Relieved and guilt-free. उसको लगा कि हाँ, because Dr. Sadao also promised him. So he felt relieved and he felt himself guilt-free. So correct option is relieved and guilt-free. And the DPP of this chapter also has been uploaded on Rezo sir. This chapter is there for your PT 4 also. पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा. Yes. So this is all where the English class for term 1 ends. I hope you have understood the things. Yes. मिलते रहेंगे चलते फिरते ऐसे. We might not meet in the regular class of English for this because syllabus अपने English का खत्म ही हो गया. You will be busy with other batches. So hope to meet you all again very soon. And before that, I would like to wish all of you a happy and a safe Diwali. I know it's too early, बहुत जल्दी है अभी. And wishes, the best wishes for all the success in all the exams as well. Thank you all and see you again very soon. Thank you.